Hello, relatives. Welcome to this week's Schlagbite for the week June 18th, 2018, entitled Untether Your Mind. A close friend told me I had to read Michael Pollan's new book, How to Change Your Mind, subtitled What the New Science of Psychedelics Teaches Us About Consciousness, Dying, Addiction, Depression, and Transcendence. Pollan is a best-selling nonfiction author who writes about the natural world and the global state of mind, but until he wrote this book, he had never taken a psychedelic substance. Psychedelics happen to be an area that I'm interested in and have written about, and Pollan's is a well-written book that makes the brain science understandable and beautifully explains the mysticism and spirituality of the psychedelic experience. However, it's important to remember that although the brain science may be new, the use of psychedelics, I actually prefer the term entheogens, from entheos, the divine within. They've been around since earliest recorded history. Indigenous cultures have used these psychoactive, naturally occurring plants and creatures to transcend ordinary consciousness and communicate with the spiritual world. Pollan has now taken LSD, psilocybin, and the crystallized venom of the Sonoran desert toad. He didn't come to it lightly. He was actually afraid and anxious, and describes himself as a reluctant psychonaut. Each time he participated, it was preceded by worry and self-doubt, and he realized afterwards that his fear and reluctance were his ego trying to convince him not to do it, because it knew it was going to challenge its need for control. Pollan describes what appears to be happening in the brain, that part of the brain that governs the ego, which most values coherence, actually drops away, and that an older, more primitive part of the brain emerges that's analogous to a child's mind. This is a place in which feelings of individuality get fuzzier, and the capacity for awe and wonder is much stronger. Children are, he says, basically tripping all the time in this egoless realm. Pollan makes the case for its efficacy in treating people with addictions, end-of-life anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorders. He is, however, not an advocate for the recreational use of psychedelics, but he does say that in the trained hands of professionals, they are a potent adjunctive therapy. I agree that the recreational use of psychedelics is ill-advised, but I also don't think that you have to be diagnosed with an illness in order to have access to them. In the right place, with the right people, and used in a ceremonial way, these entheogens can have a life-changing impact. And I see the ceremonial use of entheogens as completely different from recreational use. Ceremonies and rituals, they set the stage for coming to these awesomely powerful substances in a sacred way. And doing it that way magnifies the likelihood that the experience will be enlightening, even if it's scary. I've used entheogens infrequently over the last 50 years. But after reading Pollan's book, I've decided to reacquaint myself with these sacred plants. I'm at the stage of my life in which my once familiar landscape has changed profoundly. And I want to open my mind and look at my world through the eyes of an untethered child. So that's what I'm thinking. I send my warm summertime regards from hot Phoenix, Arizona. Stay connected. Stay connected with all things as with relatives. I say this for all of my relations. Mitakuye.